should be expecting tonight.
And you know that's an FDC stronghold.
NUP to back Alice Alaso in Saturday by-elections.
To support the Honorable Alice Alaso.
Anybody should pull out to FDC, not the other way around.
What made them to pick Muhonja Costa?
To believe or not to believe, police claims abducted Kasese man died out of bathroom accidental fall.
Cause of death was established as an accidental fall death.
Also tonight, ministers make no show to explain irregularities in construction of the standard meter gauge railway. And the staggering Uganda printing and publishing company. Can it sail through the storm of the current technology? Remember, we are streaming live on air and online. The hashtag is NBS Updates. Welcome to NBS Live at 9. www.nilepost.co.ug is where you can get the latest in current affairs, business and sport. And much later on in the broadcast, we speak to political analyst Henry Kasacha with regards to the merger of the NUP and Alliance for National Transformation. In our headlining report, NUP has withdrawn 2 of its members from Serere parliamentary race and opted to back Alliance National Transformation's Alice Alaso.
The race for Serere parliamentary seat is heating up as the opposition big player Alaso for the seat.
We are going to Serere as the National Unity Platform to support the Honorable Alice Alaso, who is the flag bearer of Alliance for National Transformation, ANT.
This after the biggest opposition political party chose to withdraw 2 of its candidates from the race. NUP says this is aimed at strengthening their understanding of the united forces of change, which the withdrawn candidates considered too.
We don't just want to participate in this election just for the sake of it. We want to have results from this election.
The Honorable Alice Alaso will win with the support of the rest of us among the forces of change. It is the right thing to do.
To my supporters in Serere, we've decided that we are all going to rally behind Alaso.
We have accepted here today that we are going to support Honorable Alice Alaso Ashanut.
NUP also announced intentions to go to court and file for habeas corpus for John Bosco Chibalama, whom the Prime Minister Robin Nabanja confirmed that he is in their custody.
They have been denying Chibalama all the while. Now, Nabanja has come out to clarify that they have him.
We shall go back to court again to apply for habeas corpus.
NUP has also trashed allegations by the Attorney General that the party does not disclose details of the alleged abductees, saying they have continued to engage all security agencies whenever their members are whisked away. Linda Nduumwami, Josephine Namakumbi, NBS, Live at 9.
Political analysts warn the opposition they are set to suffer defeat from the NRM party in the Serere by-elections should they continue to be enemies of each other. This as the Forum for Democratic Change rejected the idea of fronting a single candidate as cherished by the Alliance for National Transformation and the National Unity Platform, who have decided to back Alice Alaso in the race for Serere by-elections.
Power, our power.
The youngest political party in Uganda has broken silence of its participation in the Serere by-election by taking the path of backing the ANT-fronted candidate Alice Alaso.
And so we are going to Serere as the National Unity Platform to support the Honorable Alice Alaso.
The pronouncement has been welcomed with mixed reactions from political analysts Professor Sabit Makara and Yusuf Serunkuma, with one saying it's the way to go, while another saying a united opposition is of no value.
Now that NUP has decided to support Alice Alaso, who is a veteran politician in that area, I think it is good for the opposition.
Our parliamentary politics is very valueless. There's no value in being an MP. There's no value that comes to the people you represent.
Whereas NUP and ANT have chosen to speak with a common voice bearer.
As FDC, we are founded to participate in elections. So we feel that the candidate, anything else can be discussed between parties. Nobody has approached FDC up to today to discuss whether we should have a joint candidate or not.
Falling prey to NRM victory.
That FDC holding out, doing the same mistake like they did in Kasese, which will obviously give an advantage to the NRM candidate in Serere.
The contention is not over whether we represent a similar position. The contention is not whether when we stand together we can push a particular position, right? The contention is, how do I get there? And in many moments, they find themselves divided on who has to go there.
And you know that's an FDC stronghold. Anybody should pull out to FDC, not the other way around. If we are to be serious and we look at the statistics on the ground.
Analysts now advise the opposition to reflect on the previous by-elections of Arua and Bujiri, where they entered the race with a formidable joint force and emerged victorious over the NRM party. Shamim Nawakoza, Julius Chitone, NBS Live at 9.
Police have finally come out to explain the cause of death of 80-year-old Muhonja Constantine, a resident of Kasese, who they claim slid in the bathroom and died instantly. This comes amid concerns from the family, which is asking government to explain circumstances that led to the death of their breadwinner, who is said to have been abducted and taken to an unknown location.
So we request the government to handle all of those issues and tell us exactly what made them to pick Muhonja Costa from his area to where he was taken.
Government should explain to why such a kind of arrests.
Police have spoken out on the death of 80-year-old Muhonja Constantine, a resident of Kasese, who was thrown and died instantly.
Cause of death was established as an accidental fall death that led to a fatal chest injury. So there was no misconduct, torture, or ill treatment by the police against the victim while in custody.
Enanga said Muhonja's arrest followed investigations that linked him to ADF rebel activities.
After the arrest of 4 suspects who attacked Busika police station, we interrogated them and they indicated that when they were being transported from Uganda to the DRC, they had a conduit in Kasese whom they identified as Constantine Muhonja, the 80-year-old suspect, who always facilitated the movement of recruits from Uganda to the DRC and also received the ADF operatives who had completed training from the DRC and back into Uganda.
In Kasese, Muhonja's family is demanding for compensation from government and wants his body to be given to them for a decent burial. Olivia Nakalembe, NBS Live at 9.
Former commander of the Defense Forces, Major General Chamuntu, speaks out on the conduct of the UPDF, saying the army has been compromised after it got involved in politics. His comments come on the backdrop of a statement by the Commander-in-Chief, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, who called for discipline in the army as the UPDF celebrated Tarehe Sita.
Once cherished as People's Army, the Uganda People's Defense Forces has on several occasions found itself on the bad side of Ugandans. This has been seen in the way it handles security during elections and its purported involvement in kidnaps. While speaking at Tarehe Sita celebrations, President Yoweri Museveni, without giving specific examples, called for discipline of the force.
So you, UPDF, must be very careful. You must never adopt the habits of these old armies. Brutality, corruption. If you do that, the people will hate you.
But former commander of the army, Major General Chamuntu, says whatever the army is doing is as a result of the president holding on to power and leaving no space for the army to operate independently.
The moment whether General Museveni had it as an intention before or not, that's a debatable issue. But the moment is sustenance in power and, of course, the use of national resources, like when he amended the constitution.
General Muntu says in 1981, when they went to the bush, the goals were clear to have a full professional and non-partisan army, but this has failed in the long run.
the military being at the center of politics was a transitional aspect of the struggle. That the moment we stabilize the country, that there must start being a delinkage where the military is professionalized, and while it would be highly politically conscious, that they would be apolitical. That has failed.
Commenting on the current situation in which the army has been directly involved in politics, Muntu attributes it to the shift in the balance of power and those who were driven by the objective and ideals losing out to those whose focus was power.
Eventually, the tendency of those who saw power as an end in itself won the day. And a number of those who were driven by objectives and ideals that we subscribe to got scattered.
He says a new foundation must be built for the future of Uganda, where institutions can be independent and yet operating.
Then we must start building a new foundation on the basis of which there can be tolerance to different opinions, political opinions. Ensure that we start building and eventually entrench certain principles of governance, like the separation of powers.
General Muntu believes that there are officers willing to sacrifice for this nation, but continue to wonder what next for the motherland.
There are many officers and men, I believe, who are bleeding in their hearts. They're in uniform, they love the country, they fight for the country to the death. But I believe that they also see the contradictions.
Alex Mugasha.
120 years, the Uganda Printing and Publishing Company has been providing printing services to government. But for the last couple of years, its business has had a nosedive and its management interdicted on allegations of abuse of office. With the changing trends, especially the emerging digital era and competition from private entities, does the country still need the Uganda Printing and Publishing Company? Kanere Mugume finds out.
For the last 120 years, the Uganda Printing and Publishing Company has been in charge of printing the Uganda Gazette, an official government publication that contains notices, government declarations and supplements, bills, statutes, statutory instruments, and legal notices. Printing the Gazette is a business on its own because it's not just sold, but also everything gazetted is paid for. The company's business model evolved over time, and they moved from just printing the Gazette to printing documents on behalf of government, ministries and departments. But all this work has been done by these old printers. After so many years, they can't print much. And because of this, government MDAs started resorting to other capable printers, mostly private. UPPC started losing business, and COVID-19 was the last nail in the coffin. According to the Auditor General's report, UPP's profits dropped from 3.3 billion shillings in financial year 2020-2021 to profit indicates that UPPC's return on asset, a financial ratio that indicates how profitable a company is in relation to its total assets, had a nosedive from 26% in the financial year 2020-2021 to 5% in the financial year 2021-2022. But what explains this?
To run the corporation when you don't have people paying.
As if that's not enough, even the little profits the company had been making, it was discovered that management had been swindling it. In 2021, the Criminal Investigations Directorate, CID, of police recovered 600 million shillings believed to have been siphoned from UPPC. The money that was part of the 3 billion shillings embezzlement from government-owned corporation through a fictitious commission agent. Economist Andrew Mhimbise believes that with the changing time and emerging digital trends, UPPC might eventually run out of business because even the Gazette is soon moving online and they will be left with nothing to print.
URSB, which is a sister body of them, they're allowing digital applications, filing returns and all. All these are digital. It has to move with the times. That's it. There is no way it will stay. We know the story of Kodak. They wanted to stay in the old era, and they died. And this is reflected actually in their profitability, their return on assets. It will just be a dead weight on the part of government.
Acting Managing Director Kenneth Oluka says the company is reinventing.
This is a maiden copy of our magazine. We called it the printer. Now, this is a new revenue stream. So we are getting into new revenue streams which we think can improve, the revenues and profitability of this corporation.
On the printing school, you're going digital. What are you teaching people stuff to print? Is it the future?
Muhimse, however, believes that instead of declining further in business, the company should be merged with URSB and made a department.
The merger would be that URSB has proved to be efficient, and these are sister companies, It can be a department in there, and they would still produce their Uganda Gazette, because clearly they don't have power to compete with the private sector. Because the private sector can deliver goods at a low price. The private sector can hire talented staff, which UPPC has no access to.
To capitalize it, to prepare it for operation as a commercial entity. But the corporation has never got that money.
Question is, the printing business is now going to its sister company, the New Vision, which has even larger printing capacity. Will the Uganda Printing and Publishing Company still be in business in the near future? At what point should the government entity be given special attention when red flags have been raised from the Auditor General and are ignored? Kanare Mgume, NBS, Live at 9.
Transport. After they appeared without political heads, the committee had summoned all officials to come and explain the delayed compensation that has caused disruption in the start of the construction of the standard gauge railway.
In 2018, government embarked on construction of the standard gauge railway to replace the meter gauge railway, said to have become inefficient. But the project that has to be extended from Toro all the way to Kampala has not seen any developments. Toro district, which is the onset ground for the project, is still grappling with unpaid project-affected persons. To date, government has up to 18.431 billion shillings to pay up the 175 remaining affected persons in the district. While these are among the many waiting compensation concerns arising on the Kasoli estate land in Toro district, which the MPs say the government could end up purchasing at an inflated rate due to a bank.
Most advertised by the bank for auctioning. Now, this sitting was going to look at all those nitty-gritties.
As these issues keep coming up, the officials of the Ministry of Works have stayed away from the committee even when summoned.
I would like to propose that maybe next week, or if you have leased, we should have a date fixed. And if they fail to appear, they are not above the law.
MP Sebamala argues that all the delays will cause postponement of the project since it cannot start without a resolution of Parliament.
As long as these resolutions are not made about these pertinent issues, then the issues will keep hanging, and also the public will not allow the SGR to use the land.
The MPs, however, expressed disappointment in failure by the minister to attend the committee, stressing they could not allow the flag-off of the project without getting an explanation on different irregularities.
Serious matter which involves a lot of money, which we think should be respected. Where the ministry is not bothered, then even the use of the resources will also be not put into consideration.
We are completely frustrated. And I believe we have to communicate to the Speaker, because he gave us this precious time to make sure we handle all these issues.
The subject of interrogation of the committee is the delayed compensation of persons whose land is earmarked to be affected by the pending construction of the standard gauge railway. Shamim Navakoza, NBS Live at 9.
The Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Thomas Tayebwa, has launched the first Uganda Children's Legislative Agenda for the 11th Parliament, imploring members to prioritise issues related to children with disabilities. The Deputy Speaker also noted the need to protect Ugandan children against the now ill-intentioned people who have invaded schools and institutions to promote homosexuality.
According to the Uganda Parliamentary Forum for Children, the children's legislative agenda that has been launched by the Deputy Speaker identifies gaps where legislation fails to recognize or does not adequately recognize or protect internationally recognized rights and principles. While launching the legislative agenda for the children, the Deputy Speaker, Thomas Tayewa, indicated the need for members of Parliament to prioritize issues related to children with disability.
I also want to implore you that we specifically bring out issues to do with children with disabilities. Issues to do with children with disabilities, you've seen their dismal performance in the last examinations. It should be a point of concern. A point of concern should be raised for us on anything that leaves anyone behind.
The Speaker, however, used this platform to attack those supporting the promotion of evil acts of homosexuality in Ugandan schools and other institutions, saying those promoting it must be dealt with decisively.
But we are saying stop promoting these evil activities within our communities. If you promote homosexuality to me, I'm able to judge. And I know it's bad. Stop attacking our young children who are not able to judge by bringing in colors that are attractive, rainbow, by packaging it in a way. It's okay. It's okay. It's not okay.
The State Minister for Youth and Children, Sarah Mateke, says the legislative agenda is a landmark in the aspiration of Ugandan children, as it will help to address the gaps in the laws intended to protect the Ugandan child.
The government of Uganda acknowledges that there is an urgent need to initiate and promote legislation that fosters the holistic development of our children. And over the years, we have renewed our efforts to make steady progress in investing in our nation and its citizens, especially children. The government recognizes the need to harness the full potential of every child as a key strategy for social and economic transformation.
Uganda has, however, made laudable strides in improving the legal and institutional frameworks to safeguard children's rights. Jamila Mlindwa Nuaha, Sam Ibanda Mugabi, Nbs Live at 9.
Whereas some have welcomed the idea of backing one candidate by opposition parties in Serere, some political analysts warn that the opposition is set to suffer defeat in the oncoming Serere County by-elections. Joining us for a lot more on this is Shamim Nabakoza, who will be speaking to Henry Kasacha, a political analyst, to weigh in on this matter. Good evening, Shamim. What does Henry Kasacha have to say on this?
Good evening to you, Baker. Good evening to you also, the people that are watching NBS television, especially the Live at 9 broadcast about now. Isabella, what I can tell you is that discussion is coming to an end on who has to support the other, but also the bigger question now is what the issues are within the support. What does the other bring on table on each of the other parties that are supporting each other in this very by-election that we are yet to witness? Henry Kasacha is a political analyst, and he has been here enough to be able to articulate for us these matters. And we want to pick from you for a start. What does the coming of NUP on board to support ANT's candidate mean for any other person?
Well, I think that it's not the first time NUP is swinging into an election of this nature. It happened when Kassiano Wadri was running in Arua, and it became a game changer. So right now, NUP cannot have any election going around in this country and they do not have their flags flying, even when they don't have a candidate. Because any by-election, any election, any political activity that helps a political party reach out to people and let people interact with the party is a political event. So at the moment, if NUP is coming up to support ANT, I think it has been part of their broader policy positions that they have to engage. And I think that the NUP and ANT have had some kind of working arrangement for some time since formation. And it's basically necessitated by so many factors, including the fact that NUP may not have a strong presence in Serere. And it's not just simply about participating in an election, it's about competing. So if ANT has Honorable Alice Alaso running, who has been representing that area before and has some solid support on the ground, I think it makes serious political sense that NUP would consider supporting Alice Alaso in this election.
One would ask what your mind would be on FDC, the Forum for Democratic Change, declining to support any of the other candidates, especially Alice Alaso, who was part of the party, with reasons that the president says some of them are irreconcilable. Does this pose any challenges?
Well, it does not really pose serious challenges. I think that we all know that ANT has emerged from FDC. It's a breakaway from FDC. And the reasons were never made public. They just tell you there were irreconcilable differences. We don't think that they were irreconcilable because we don't know the reasons. And it's just too soon that you expect FDC to jump and support ANT. It will be very difficult. I think they have had a candidate as FDC as a party. But more importantly is that since the last elections, there has been no deliberate process where the parties can participate in a kind of working together arrangement. They talk about it in passing, but this is very difficult. I would not imagine that FDC would support ANT in this election because there are some wounds that have not healed. There are people who are still aggrieved with people leaving FDC. They still think that ANT is recruiting from their base, and they cannot allow that the ANT flag will fly in Serere. How about if all the people of FDC just join ANT? It will be extremely difficult for FDC and ANT to zero down on one candidate.
NUP as a party previously in the by-elections has worked with the Forum for Democratic Change. This time round it is Alliance for National Transformation. Does this speak of anything of that party?
Well, it doesn't speak so much on that party. I think that FDC and all the political parties, they have maintained some kind of correspondence, but not deliberate. I think NUP has taken the fact that ANT is fielding Honorable Alice Alaso, who has been on the ground, who has represented that area before, and I think it has become extremely difficult. Of course, they have had some kind of cold blood, Cold War between FDC and as very significant. I think NUP has made a decision to support ANT based on their broader strategic goals of building their party, but also enabling them to go into Serere as a region. They don't have serious presence in terms of political leadership in that region. And I think that working with ANT would create fly. I think they would rather fly with their ANT in this election, because Alice Alaso is a competitive candidate. And if you track NUP has not gone into an election if a candidate is not competing. If you are not competing, if you are simply participating, from the track record, they have not entered into that election. They went into Senego when Kassan Wadriri was leading. They went into Bugiri when Asuman was leading. And these were game changers for the party. So I think NUP, if you look at all the by-elections that they have gone into, where they have not had a candidate, they have always gone for the leading or seemingly leading opposition candidate.
Many thanks to you, Henry Kasacha, for sharing that with us. And for any other person watching us, it would be a question of whether it will be one of a kind of Bujiri, a kind of Kassiano Wadri's victory. For that will be happening in Serere. And we wait to see how that transpires, whether this working together equally has a bearing for the national resistance movement or not, and how much that has to yield in that by-election. Back to you at the political command.
As this particular by-election is set to happen this week on Thursday and Friday. Let's have a look at what some of your opinions are regarding this issue. What is your view about NUP's decision to support Alliance for National Transformation's Alice Alaso? We're using the hashtag Nbs Live at 9 on Facebook and on Twitter. Sarusa Joel says it identifies unity in the opposition, and I'm looking forward to hearing the FDC candidate withdraw. Semrina Joseph says she has a chance to beat other candidates. Good move for the opposition. FDC should also support her. John Paul G on Twitter says this shows that NUP doesn't care about the youth as they always claim. How can you leave a youth and instead support a veteran politician. It is a strong message to the youth to know that nobody cares for them, but rather themselves, and they need to arise to take their space. On Facebook, Tanga Moses says, Alice Alaso has content and you can only doubt her if you've never heard her speak. On Twitter, Kalete Andrea says, she's the candidate I think will defeat or beat the rest. Go Alaso. On Facebook, Atip Isaac says, opportunists, it will end in tears. Mama's time shined past. We're now in fresh blood. These are some of your comments coming in through our various social media platform. Remember, we continue to use the hashtag NBS Updates. Once again, I take you back to the top stories making headlines tonight. Just a reminder that the NUP has decided to back the Alliance for National Transformation candidate, Alice Alaso, while the police have spoken out on Kasese's abductee, claiming that he passed on after an accidental bathroom fall. But much later on as well, much earlier on in the broadcast, we had a discussion with a struggling Uganda publishing and printing corporation. These are top stories tonight. Once again, remember, you can get all this and so much more on www.nilepost.co.ug. Up next.
More to come, brought to you by Make Your Building a Paradise. We have weather coat emulsion, undercoat emulsion, silk vinyl emulsion, flat emulsion, super gloss and high gloss. Global Paint, a reliable product.
Still to come, war veterans calling themselves Kikozi Walum want recognition for their contribution in the 1979 Liberation War.
More to come, brought to you by Make Your Building a Paradise. We have weather coat emulsion, undercoat emulsion, silk vinyl emulsion, flat emulsion, super gloss and high gloss. Global Paint, a reliable product.
The Tales of Kasozi, brought to you by Uganda Communications Commission.
Yes, hello? This is Kasozi. How can I help you?
Calling you from the mobile service center.
Okay. So how can I help you?
Well, we have noticed a few things wrong with your number and need your mobile money PIN.
John Ferrer, never give out your password or PIN to any caller. Your mobile service provider will never call or ask for your personal details. If in doubt, go to your nearest phone service center.
This message is powered by UCC, MTN, Airtel, Bank of Uganda, and NPSP Association.
Work. Work's over. Busy Bite, get down to snack business. When snacking is under attack, we'll be there to fight back.
It's your year. Make 2023 your year in 48 hours with Housing Finance Bank.
Bye, Mommy.
Pay school fees for your children. Buy yourself a car. Invest in your business or side hustle, and so much more.
Make 2023 your year with Housing Finance Bank Salary Loan. Get up to 350 million in just 48 hours.
Housing Finance Bank. We make it easy.
Send transport to the wrong person. Here's how to reverse it with MTN Mobile Money. Dial *165#. Select My Account. Select Initiate Reversal. You will see your last 3 transactions. Select the transaction you want to reverse. Enter your mobile money PIN and you'll get an SMS confirmation that the transaction has been blocked from being withdrawn. And that's it. Please note, only transactions that haven't been withdrawn can be reversed.